What's up, YouTube? Just posting up an update on this Toyota Tundra. The original video, I did a walk around talking about the various reasons of why I picked this up. Again, just wanted to try something different. I really like the V8s in these trucks, like the look and the platform. And I really had a lot of confidence in thinking I can make this do what I wanted it to do. I want to start out here in the front. I got rid of the gray. I painted this guy black. This was a big win for me. It's kind of hard to find, but I got the Toyota emblem that was missing on this guy. It was really bothering me, so now that it's there, it looks super nice up front. It's completed. Moving right along, we have 35-inch tires now. These are Summit 17s. I believe they're 17 by 9 with a negative 25 offset. Pushes the wheel out probably another 2 inches from where I had it previously. That was really important because I was rubbing against the frame and I needed as much clearance as I can get from the suspension. Also up here, as you can see, we no longer have the holes from the original fender liner or the fender flare that we had here. Really cut aggressively up on the top and did a firewall tub back here. We've cut off about 3 inches from the actual firewall or the actual cab, and then did some sheet metal and some sealant all over the welds on the thin sheet metal. Shout out to Jose who did the work on this. I'll post his Instagram on the YouTube description. But yeah, he did some great work there. He also did some fab work in the back, welding up the bumper, which I'll show you here in a second. So moving right along, we have these sliders. The sliders are made by Nick Day with 80% Off-Road. He does super awesome work. Welds are amazing. He also does custom front bumpers, rear bumpers, swing outs. He does 3-link builds, you name it. He's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and it shows in the work that he's done. So yeah, these guys are slightly upward. I would say about closer to a 45-degree angle. I wanted that so that it'd be closer to the body. No swing out, because that was a big problem with my last truck. I would get hung up on the kick out that was here towards the rear of the bed. So really nice. I think I barely tapped one of these at Moab recently. But back here with the 35, as you can see, I was able to slice off quite a bit of the knobs here, and that's just because it never really touched here, and I had a full tuck this last Moab trip testing this. I did touch this a lot, so I think I'll have to take out another, maybe from here over closer to the slider, and then that way we'll never touch this again. But that's just that. The gas tank cap was broken, so I did a ghetto fix. I did 2 magnets here, and it stays in there just fine. Rattling around in the trails and whatnot, it didn't even come out, so we're all good there. Here is the antenna and the coax cable that goes underneath the truck and gets fed in through the firewall into the cab. That's the Midland radio that I installed. That's another video on YouTube that I posted recently. Moving right along, back here we have the Coastal Off-Road bumper. This was Coastal Off-Road is in Canada, and it came in a box of basically plates and instructions. And again, shout out to Jose. This information is going to be in the description. Did an amazing job putting this guy together. Basically, you start off with the middle portion, and then everything kind of welds up. You kind of tack everything together and do the final welds. I opted for the bed hoops. Those are going to be lifesavers. As you can see on this side, I actually tapped a rock when I was super leaned over, so this saved the rest of the bedside. This was already here when I purchased the truck, but this saved more damage from happening. This was just me backing up into a tree. That was my fault. Totally didn't see the tree. There's no backup camera on this, so I kind of had to guess. So back here, We had to cut the bed, probably just underneath the tailgate here, as you can see. Straight line across, looks great. I like the gap. You need that too, because if you're you flex a little and you kind of tap your bumper or whatnot, you at least have some room so you don't bend your entire bed. Down here we did a cutting of the exhaust. I cut it right where the last hanger is. You can see right there, just for clearance purposes. And then other than that, this is about, I would say, 3 feet off the ground, 3.5 feet. So lots and lots of clearance. I think I barely tapped it, I think, here, but it was like some really extreme angles. I was coming down in Moab. But yeah, that's where we're at with the truck on the exterior. Other than that, we have full skids. I have transfer case skid, a transmission skid, and a oil pan skid. So this is fully skidded, steel skids all the way up, and that just gives you peace of mind if you're going to be slamming this thing on the ground. So underneath the hood, not much has changed, but I did make a custom mount for a dual barrel compressor from ARB, and this powers the manifold kit that's down here. That goes to the air locker. So this guy now has 488 Nitro polish gears with the rear ARB air locker. Did great at Moab with just the rear locker. Not sure I'll ever need the front, but you know, in case we have to throw it in, it's ready to go. But for the most part, I think it'll just do fine without it. This intake is awesome. It does draw a lot of air, but as you can see, it gets really freaking disgusting. I'll be cleaning this guy here soon, but I either might have to make a custom box for it, or I'll have to just replace it altogether, maybe make a snorkel. I mean, Black Friday is upon us, so I might just buy it. In here, not much has changed either. We got some new Cover King seat covers. These are amazing, really good stitching, really good fitment. These use clip straps and some Velcro to keep everything together instead of those little cheap hook things. Up here we have the Midland radio. Still haven't found a place on where to mount this guy, but that's for later. It's powered by a cigarette lighter. All that's fed right behind. And then my switches are actually right here. They're not glued in yet because I'm testing out the area. They didn't really come out, but now that I know I won't have the third switch for the front locker, I can now kind of glue them in place. All right, so that's where we're at with this truck. It did phenomenal at Moab. I have a bunch of little clips I'm going to put together for a video on YouTube just to show what these trucks are made of and definitely what they're capable of. Still a lot of things to do, but it really proved itself this week. It has fresh fluids right now, and we're just going to now address all the little things. So stuff like suspension. You know, what we're going to do with it, if we're just going to completely gut it. The steering rack is pretty much blown on this thing. The whole front end really needs to be rebuilt. And then we'll address the rear, planning on doing a 3-link in the rear at this point. And maybe all the little things inside the truck, you know, like replacing the windshield, the little clips that go to the little rear windows, bunch of little stuff like that. So keep, you know, tuned in so that you can see all the little fixes that I have for this truck. But here's where it's at. It's doing great, and I'll post another update once some of the other suspension components come in.